What is up, everybody? It is Lawrence, and I want to get into this one really quickly because I have a lot to do today, and there is a lot to talk about. So let's talk about the Space Hippie 04. So the Space Hippie 4 was a woman's only release, and the woman's only release went into really large sizes. So I'm not really sure why it was marketed as a woman's shoe. It definitely doesn't look like a woman's shoe, as you're going to see in a second. Obviously, the Space Hippie line is a brand of shoes that is pretty much utilizing some of the scraps and things that Nike was going to throw away and mixing it all together and creating either new materials, new functionality, or just reutilization. So the entire experience starts as soon as you get the package. You can see that this is not the typical box that you would get for any type of sneaker. This is basically just put in here as a regular shoe, and that's it. Like, it's kind of cool. But then once you open it, you have this crazy branding on the inside that says Space Hippie. There are other things that kind of reminisce to the regular Nike box, which is like back here, where the bottom of the box also has the kind of regular kind of description of what Nike is, and then you also have the size tag, which is over here on the bottom, and that's also interesting as well. And that's pretty much it. I mean, like, it comes with a shipping label on, and you kind of have to rip it off and things like that. So really interesting experience overall from a boxing perspective. Nike literally found a way to make us not want more, but actually want more of this trash as a marketing gimmick, and it totally worked on me. So let's get into it. This is a Space Hippie 4, done in the Vault in gray colorway. So there were two colorways that launched here. The Space Hippie 1, 2, and 3 came in all of the same color, and those were men's releases. And this was the woman's release. With that said, there's no part of the shoe where I would consider it a woman's aesthetic in any way, shape, or form. It just looks like another Flyknit shoe with a crazy midsole. Let's start with upper like we always do. So this is made out of what they call space yarn. And space yarn is ultimately taking all these other different types of materials, recycling it, and creating a new yarn that they're spinning so that they can create random colors like this. The whole idea behind it is obviously they're not using net new materials, but utilizing materials that they either had in place at Nike or anything like that to create the space yarn. I would say that the space yarn itself feels very much like Prime Knit and or Flyknit. I'd say it's somewhere in between. It doesn't definitely feel the same as Flyknit. Maybe I'm tripping. I'm not 100% sure, but you know, you can definitely tell that it's a different type of material, but I don't think it's bad. It's just different. Then the other parts of the upper. So there's some interesting aspects of this. There are pieces of flywire that come in through the front over here. And this is the first time I've seen them do this, so it's basically just a piece of yarn. And they also utilize that on the sides where the paneling and where the laces are for flywire. They haven't used flywire in a long time in a lot of places, so I'm actually really glad they did this, just because I really think flywire is a great way for them to put the shoe and kind of the hugging of the shoe onto the midfoot. They do this on the medial side as well. And on the very front of the shoe, you have a Vault mini swoosh. Love mini swooshes. Then going to the other big Nike swoosh is this one right in the middle on the lateral side. And that is the coolest stitched in aspect. So it's not printed on, it's actually literally stitched in. I don't think I've actually seen Nike ever do this on another shoe in recent memory, so I think it's really cool. Then you have up the front a rope style lacing done in black. And there is a stretchier material for the tongue, so you can get, so it's easier for your foot to get in and out, so that the weave on that specific part of the Flyknit is very different. Going to the back of the shoe, you have this kind of pull tab, and that pull tab is done in a black nylon, and that extends across, and you do have that Nike in the back with that type of Space Hippie branding. Then, going to the middle of the shoe, this is a huge, chunky midsole. And what this chunky midsole is, it literally looks like a bunch of other materials put together. And it's because it is a bunch of random materials put all together. So this is what Nike calls their crater foam. Crater foam is basically the remnants and scraps of other midsoles and things like that. And so that's why there's different colors and other kind of materials. And this new process to basically make a new foam out of this, out of the scraps. And so you have all these different colors that are littered throughout into this kind of like white-ish but blue-ish hue, gray-ish hue. Really can't describe the color, it's a little hard. with all these specs in it. I just really like the way it looks. It kind of reminds me of like a cool like kitchen splash on the back, or some type of like really artistic table that's used in some type of marble. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's really interesting, and I do like it a lot. Going over to the bottom of the shoe, you have more of that crater foam. So that crater foam is going to be exposed directly into the ground. We're going to have to see how it holds up, but from what I can tell right now, it seems like a really durable material. Then you have these darker pieces, which are in the front over here, which are probably high wear areas, and in the heel back over here. And this is much more rubbery than the rest of the crater foam. I don't think it's probably classified as crater foam, but it looks like it. But it's a different color, and you can actually tell that it has a little more traction there, and it's definitely harder than crater foam. So what are my thoughts on this shoe? So let's start with style. From a style perspective, I think the shoe is okay. I do like the shape. I really like the way it contours. I actually really like the aggressive bottom, and really just the craziness and the space hippiness of the shoe. It's very unique. However, there are some things that I just really don't like about the sneaker, and if those little things kind of went away, I would actually like the sneaker a lot. First of all, I don't like the way that these have black lines through it. I think it's very distracting, but that's my least favorite part about the shoe. But the shoe itself, I'd say, is very stylish in a good way. I also don't love the Volt colorway for this specific Space Hippie 4. I do like it a lot better in the 1, 2, and 3 versions. Next, going to comfort. The comfort on these is really good on the midsole. I really like the crater foam. It's actually a lot stiffer than you would expect, which is good. You know, sometimes you get this sinking feeling with some of the foams. You don't get that here, and I personally enjoy a much more kind of rigid and kind of structured midsole. You know, React is to me like one of those things that definitely holds that edge, and this one is really good. I don't know how to really describe it. It's much more close to your typical harder foam than it is your soft React foam. I wouldn't say that there's much energy return in it. I wouldn't expect that from this. The one thing that the 4s do not have, that the 1, 2, and 3 do have, as part of the process, they basically took all different types of scraps of the ZoomX material, and they combined it all together and kind of remade a restructured version of the ZoomX. I don't know how that feels because the Space Hippie 4 doesn't have it, but I really want to try what that feels like. I don't know why they didn't put it in this shoe because it's the exact same price as I believe as the 1 and the 2. Or very similarly priced as the 1 and the 2, so it's not because of that. It's not like this was a cheaper model. And then on the upper, the Flyknit this is where I actually have an issue. You know, one of the reasons why I might not end up keeping the shoe, I'm going to see what this feels like after a couple days. You see this kind of stitching right here? I feel it really drastically on my foot, and I don't like that feeling at all. I thought it would go away or I would get used to it, but I've tried these on for about a day and a half, and you know, that feeling of the stitching is just constantly there, and it's irritating the side of my foot. So I don't love that about the sneaker. So, you know, I'm looking to potentially get the 1s and or 2s in the coming release in the next couple days. Hopefully I'll be able to cop a pair. From a sizing perspective, I would definitely go true to size. These fit really well true to size. I don't think going half size up is going to help you in any way. So I would just say go true to size, even if you have a wider foot. I think you'll be okay. Because there is ample room on both the sides of the shoe as well as the length of the shoe for me. It's very comfortable. And that's it, guys. This is a Space Hippie 4. If you have any questions about the Space Hippie line, or the 4s, leave that in the comments below. And until next time, this is the Space Hippie 4, done in the Volt in gray colorway. Peace.